So guys, today I'm going to be talking about what to do when you are gone and you need someone to take care of your pets while you're gone, how to set all that up. What to do when you're gone on vacation and you have animals. Let's go. My family's been thinking about taking a vacation to Hawaii, just talking about it. And we've been thinking, if we're gonna go for 2 weeks, then, we have to have someone to take care of the animals. And of course, you as a pet owner want to make that job for that person as easy as possible. So when talking about fish, the first thing you need to do is do a 1/4% water change. So all you need to do before you go is just pretend, this is all the way up. Do a 1/4% water change, or like maybe even a 10 to 20% water change. And so that means if this was full, you would empty it with your siphon around this much, fill it up with new water, and then it is pretty much all set besides food, because just doing that will actually be really good for your pets. I've talked to a lot of aquarium owners, and they say, because one of my friends, he talked about it, and basically all his fish died. And the pet owner was saying, the pet store owner, and this isn't PetSmart, this is like a professional fish store, he said just do a 1/4 or like a 20% water change while you're gone. And if you're gone for just around maybe 3 or 4 days, you don't even have to feed your fish. Your fish will not die if you don't feed them just for a few days, unless it is just like super skinny and already sick. Your fish will not die within just a few days. But personally, I'm gonna be gone for like 2 weeks. Maybe. So in that case, do your 1/4% water change on your fish tank, and this goes for any fish tanks. Do your 1/4% water change. Either send them a video or have them come over so you can go over the whole routine of feeding them. This is what I feed my guppies. I feed these Omega Freshwater flakes. Now you can simply bring them over to your house and say, get 1 pinchful and put it, or so how many pinchfuls. I have a lot of guppies, so I do more than 1 pinchful. And do that twice a day. Now you can either tell them that when they're at your house or send them a video if they're not there. Or the other best way is to get small baggies and label it day 1, day 2, day whatever, all the way until you're gone, and have them come over around the normal feeding times every day, or you could do it every other day if you don't want them to come over every day, or if they can't. Then have little baggies of food and tell them to do maybe half of that each time you come over. So say they come over twice in that day to feed them in the morning feedings and the evening feedings. Tell them to put half of the bag in the tank one day, half of the other bag in the next time you come over. So basically, you can either tell them and show them, like do 2 large pinchfuls, but sometimes that's dangerous. And then the best way really is to just get baggies, label them, and tell them feed that much each day. So next we're gonna go over what I do for my dog. So for our dog, this is what I do. Get a big plastic bag and a cup. Basically, simple way I could just say it, label again your bags as you did with the fish, and put as much food in that little bag and say feed them that. It's simple enough, but here's the way we specifically do it. So for our dog, this is like a 2-cup cup. And so we put our little name Carly. That's what we used to feed her. She got a little bit bigger, so we put it down to 1 cup twice a day. So we have that little line on the cup, and here's her food. So if they come over to your house, it's simple enough to say, get the food and fill it up to that line. But sometimes you bring them over to other people's houses. In that case, you fill it up for how many days? So if I feed her, my dog, up to this line twice a day, you just get your bag and say you're gone for 5 days. So you'll put 10 of those cups in there because it's 2 feedings for 5 days. So then give them this cup and your bag of food and tell them just to measure it out this much twice a day. And you can also give them an extra cup or 2 just in case they happen to overfeed it. So it's going to be pretty much near the same process. What you're going to do is for my tortoise, I feed him once every other day. So I'm going to grab baggies, and on the baggie, just write just like this, just write day 1, and then fill it up with how much food you feed. This is for a tortoise. How many greens? Fill it up with your greens, carrots, peppers, whatever you put in your tortoise's food, just fill it up in this bag and they'll know how much to feed it that day. So now I'm in my room and we're gonna go over what I do for my lizard. So this is my bearded dragon Red. He's doing some shedding right now. Now for most people there's around 2 main ones, but 3 foods that you normally feed your lizards. It's mealworms, crickets, or dubia roaches. Now I'm not going to go over dubia roaches because I personally have never used them. They are pretty much like the most healthy food that you can feed it, but they're a lot more expensive and hard to come by sometimes. But my bearded dragon was like grown on mealworms. Now mealworms sometimes can cause impaction, which basically means that sometimes like the mealworms, like because it has like a shell, doesn't pass through its system and it can't digest. It can't really process it all the way through, which means it won't be able to poop because like the shell and just the hardness of the worm is too much. But it just depends on the bearded dragon. Crickets, you normally don't have a problem with it, but for mine, mealworms have always worked and mine doesn't get impacted. But for a long time, I did only feed crickets. So for this, there's many ways you can do this. So these are the mealworms. I normally get a 500 count of mealworms because it lasts me more than a week. It's around $10. You can just get the can of 500 mealworms, and that's what I do to save a lot of money because it's only like 10 bucks and it literally lasts you a long time. So for mealworms, it's pretty simple. Crickets are a little more hard because crickets you normally keep in a little critter cage like this, and you have your cardboard, and just to keep them alive you throw in some veggies just to keep your crickets alive, of course. And for that case, you really do have to have someone still come over to your house. Now, if you want to, if they can't come over every day, it's okay, your lizard won't die. So maybe have them come over every other day. Every 2 days is a little far if you're doing it for 2 weeks, but you could do every like 2 days if you're only gone for like a week. But every other day is like a proper, like, of course, if they can come over every day to feed all your animals, that's even better. Because I feed my bearded dragon every day, and but if they can't happen to come over every day to feed your animals, that's okay. I'm just saying they won't die. So for crickets, normally my adult bearded dragon would eat maybe 8 to 9 a day. So you can just tell the person, hey, come in here to this little critter cage where you keep all your crickets. Just grab 8 or 9 each day and put them in the bearded dragon tank. But for me, I use mealworms. So I'll open this top up and I will literally just grab, because mealworms don't have as much nutrition as say crickets or dubia roaches, so I will sometimes sprinkle them with vitamin dust or calcium dust, but I will just throw in a good little handful of mealworms, just like this. So it may end up being like 10 to 20 mealworms. So guys, my next animal and the last animal are turtles. Now I'm going to tell you how I feed my turtles. If you have them in a fish tank, it is pretty much easy. I don't know how you feed your turtles, but personally, I take mine when I had them in a tank. I take them out of the tank and fill up a bin with a few inches of water, just enough to maybe cover the turtle's like top of its shell if it's in it, and put a chlorinator in it, of course, to make it safe for turtles. And I put in the amount of pellets that I would normally feed them. So I take them out of the tank, put them in the bin with water, and I feed them. That way my tank doesn't get all messy with leftover food. And personally, right here, this is my bin. I have larger turtles, so this is the bin I use, fill it up with water, and I put them in here and I feed them. But currently I have a pond, and actually both of my turtles somehow left, and I don't know why. But they were literally right there and over there like 20 seconds ago. So if you have a pond, it's a little harder because normally if they are out here, they are not seeing people every day, so they get very skittish. Personally, I own a little net. So if I'm not able to run out and catch the turtle to put them in the bin to feed them, I grab a little net, and when they go down to the bottom, I just scoop them back out. So this goes with turtles, pretty much everything else. Now you have the little setup that you can show your the person that's feeding your animals. You can tell them how to set it up. It's simple enough. Just put water, the chlorinator, in a bin, and that's it. Just enough so it covers their body, because turtles actually need water to digest their food, to swallow it. So it pretty much goes with the same way. Once the person is able to get your turtle either from the tank or from your pond, and it's okay because actually with turtles, they can go a little bit longer without eating. So if they can't happen to catch your turtle in the pond for maybe 2 or 3 days, that is okay. because you know them, when you come back, you'll be able to feed them right back up and get them back to normal health. But if they can't, it's okay. But if they do, when they're here to feed your turtle and they catch it while they're there, so everything's going to plan so far, put it in there, just grab the amount of pellets. What you do then for the food is basically do the same thing as I've told you before. Grab a little baggie and put in how much to feed them that day, and then they'll just pour it in the bin, leave the turtle there for around 15 minutes. I don't know if your turtle is used to eating a lot. Sometimes mine are, sometimes mine aren't, but one of my turtles loves to eat, and if I put him in there, 20 seconds goes by, he'll start eating just like that. So really, it's just monitoring. Of course, first telling the person how to set up and how to feed your animals. Next, it goes, get your baggies and get all of the food for your animals together. So one, they don't have to, and two, they won't overfeed or underfeed your animals. And that's really it. Have little baggies with the amount of food that you want to feed them each day, and tell them just to put that in the tank each day, and they don't have to do anything else. That is simple enough for someone to not like mix up, and you don't have to say, just add some food, don't put too much, don't put too little, you know. And it's better to put too little than too much. So just remember that. So guys, that's kind of how I do it with my lizards and stuff. I have baggies, I have a baggie system, I label them what day to feed it when the people come over and feed our animals. That's a very trusted system. They know how much to feed it, and they don't have to do anything. They don't even have to make the meals then. And just tell them how much, and have it in little baggies. For lizards, just tell them actually how much. Grab 8 or 9 crickets and put them in. And for bearded dragons, if you're only gone for a little bit, you really can't overfeed them. If you're only gone for a little bit, if you do it for months, you can't overfeed your animals. So guys, that's going to be today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and merch is starting to come. Again, I'm just waiting for mine to come in the mail, and then it will officially be out if it looks mighty fine. So I hope you all have an amazing day. Peace, love, positivity, find your vision, and follow it. Be a visionary today and subscribe, and I will see you beautiful people next video. Peace.